Hey guys, for this service, we're going to be taking this grown out balayage. She usually comes in 2 times a year, and we're going to be retouching her and doing more of a seamless foilayage slash balayage. So to see how we tackle this service, keep watching. You can follow me over on Instagram at Christy at the cottage. Here's my clients before. She comes in probably every 6 months or so, and you can see that she really likes her grow out really nice and sun-kissed, so nothing too harsh and heavy. And right now we're going to get into what we're going to do with the service.
Hey guys, so I just did my consultation with my client, and her hair is probably to here. And to start the service off, we're just gonna trim the ends a little bit to bring it like right up to the collar a little bit, probably like an inch and a half. She has quite a bit of grow out, but it's not bad grow out at all because the last service that we did, we just do a really soft, subtle foliage. I normally don't like doing a balayage. I was kind of thinking I could do an open air balayage, but I just don't like how warm it gets usually, and the processing time takes a little bit longer just because, you know, you don't have the foil insulating it or whatever. So I thought I'd do something different. I'm not going to. We're just going to do our same old, same old. So the nice thing is that it is pretty soft and subtle, so we don't have to go in heavy-handed or anything. So it's going to be just really minimal work, which is nice because sometimes we feel like we have to overdo it and that's not always necessary. So to start the service off, we're just going to be mixing our lightener again, as same as always usually, which is my Schwarzkopf Blonde Me. I'll be using 20 volume. I don't think I really need to use Olaplex because we're not trying to get super blonde or anything. And this has a bonder in the lightener, so I don't feel like I need to use the Olaplex. So yeah, that's just what we're going to be doing today.
To start the service off, we're just going to go through and do a rough cut. I like to be pretty accurate when I trim the hair at the beginning because then, you know, then I might not have to go back and do it again, but I will definitely check it, but I might not have to go through and trim again. So as much as I'm possibly can, I'm going to be as accurate as possible, but we're just going to do a rough cut right now and take off about 1.5 to 2 inches roughly. So we're just going to do that. I know a lot of times I don't add this part of the service, but a lot of times people ask to leave the haircut part in. So I'm just going to leave it in today for you guys. I know before somebody has asked why, after I like pull the hair down, why do I then lift the hair up? Because they were saying how it will make it uneven. Like right there, how I like pull the hair down and then I kind of like lift my fingers up to cut. And I'm not letting go of tension or anything. So I'm not like the hair's not slipping from my fingers. So it's not going to come up uneven or anything like that. I'm keeping the same tension. So that's why I'm lifting my fingers up right there. So we're just going to finish the haircut and then get into the color part of the service. Oh my gosh, is anybody else annoyed about having to wear the masks again? Like, I understand the safety and all of that stuff, that the reason why, but like, I don't even say anything anymore. Like, when I'm combing down, and sorry, not sorry, but it is impossible to not snap against somebody's face when you're trying to like comb and get the hair and all of that stuff. So, like, are we all at a point right now where we don't even apologize for it? Like, there's so many times, like, I know before when COVID first hit and we reopened, like, I would like take the comb and it would snap and hit my clients against the face, and I'm always like, oh my god, I'm so sorry, and mortified. And now I'm just like, you know what, it is what it is. Sorry, you might leave with a bruise on the face, sorry for you. Anyways, let's get into the hair coloring. All right, so I asked my client, and I kind of remember from the previous services that we've done that she doesn't like a strong money piece or heavy foiling right on the face because she wants everything to be able to grow out nice and soft and subtle. So normally at this point, if somebody did want a money piece, I would go through and do probably like 3 foils all the way around the hairline, all the way up to the scalp. But because she doesn't want that and she wants it to be able to go for quite a while in between services, we're not going to do any foils around the face. So we're just going to go through, and I am kind of going just a little bit off of the hairline. I'm not taking the hair directly right on the hairline because I want it to be able to blend back, and I don't want to have like streaks, you know? So I am just leaving a little bit of her natural, probably like a 1/4 inch, half an inch directly on the hairline that I'm not going to be lightening. So we're going to do a diagonal parting, and that's going to help it blend a little bit better. A lot of people have been asking me about how to get a good blend. No matter how much they try, they still get like lines in the hair. And I feel like if you're doing a diagonal sectioning, you could see before that I was going through and doing like a zigzag parting. And I feel like that really helps too, because you're kind of, that in itself, the hair is going to kind of blend together. When you comb everything down, you're going to have hair that you didn't grab that's going to kind of lay on top of that section. So that will kind of help eliminate any lines also. And then back combing and weaving your sectioning. I feel like all of that stuff together is really good to help eliminate any heavy lines. And even if you have to do like 2 sections back to back for a little bit stronger of a blonde piece, that's fine, but at least you'll eliminate any harsh lines in it. But you can just double up on the brightness by doing 2 packets right next to each other. So you could see there that I was kind of just doing like really quick zigzag. Now we're gonna do our weave, and sometimes I have to like go through and do like a second zigzag if I feel like, you know, my first one wasn't strong enough. So we did the second one, weave, back comb, hold the hair back with a clip. That way it doesn't fall back into your section and then you end up bleaching through it, whatever. So we're just going to feather in probably within maybe 1.5 inches of the roots. That way she still has a nice rooty look, and she feels like everything's blending really nicely into her scalp and her root area. But we are going to be taking it up quite a bit, and I am kind of feathering it a little bit closer towards the front of the face. That way she has a little bit more of a brighter impact the closer towards the face that we get. Another thing, I really like to start on one side and then flip to the other side and then back and forth. I don't like doing one whole side and then moving on to the other side of the head. And that's because I really want to make sure that we get even lift, especially because her goal is not to be super bright blonde, where if I did one whole side and she got really blonde, or that side gets really blonde before the other side, then I could just bump up the developer and speed it up on the other side. I don't want to get her to like a level 10 or anything. If she gets to like a level 8, like a level 9 or something, that's fine. But I feel like I want to go back and forth between either side of her head, and that will help get even lift, and to where one side isn't going to be finished before the next side. You can see here that we're getting pretty close to where she parts her hair, but I'm taking a little bit more of a diagonal back away from her face. And so this little piece is going to come up a little bit closer to where she parts her hair, but I don't want to have any heavy lines, and she really wants it to be more of a sun-kissed look. So I'm not going to go too heavy directly on where she parts her hair. I'm just going to make sure that everything blends a little bit heavier underneath. But then when we get right to the top part of where she parts her hair, I'm going to do a really, really fine section in that area just to add a little bit of brightness, but soft enough that it's going to be really subtle grow out. All right, now that we finished up these foils that are matching on either side right at the above the temple area at the sides of the head, we're going to go and do, I don't want to say a money piece because it's not going to be bright and super, bright around the face or anything, but I do want to make sure that it's nice and even, especially since she parts her hair kind of more on the side. I think it's easier to just do it this way. So we are going to do a little weave and back comb it pretty heavy. That way it definitely blends and is more rooty right at the scalp area. So we're just going to feather this up into the roots and just kind of pull it down through the ends, but be cautious because the ends are already lightened. So we're just going to pick up some of those pieces that need to have the lightener run through the ends, and we're just going to feather it up into the roots. Oh, actually, I totally forgot because the service from when I actually did the service to when I'm recording it has been a few weeks, and I totally forgot that when I did this application, I wanted to try something different. So I took this section directly behind this foil that we did directly on her forehead, and it's probably like an inch and a half or an inch and a half. It's pretty thick, and I did a pretty wide weave. Make sure that you're kind of over directing the weave so that you're going all the way above and all the way underneath it to make sure you're evening out the hair. Over direct all of the hair forward and back comb it, and that's going to kind of help over direct the hair as it lays back down. You're going to have it be a little bit more natural of brightness around the face, where the first foil we did was a little bit closer up to the root. The second foil we did, you could see it was probably like an inch. And this very last foil that we did, look how much larger of a section that it is. And pay attention to this weave, how like over directing I'm going up and down into that weave and like pulling the hair apart. This is a much bigger section, but I'm pulling it all the way forward. So, and I'm not going to feather the bleach directly into the roots. So that's going to create more of a softer blend where it's going to be a little bit brighter towards the front of the face, but then towards like the midsection of where her part falls, it's going to kind of soften up and naturally like drape down towards the back, and the brightness is going to be more towards the front. And I felt like it would be easier to do this because if you ever do someone's hair where they part their hair a little bit further on the side, and sometimes it's hard to create enough balance or brightness evenly on either side of the head. So I figured I'd try this out, and I probably sound really confusing, but I liked this effect a little bit more, and I feel like it was a lot faster than having to flip back and forth between either side. So I just wanted to try this out, and I actually really liked how it came out. And then you could see where her part falls. And so now I'm going to go and take another section kind of diagonal back that's going to connect to these foils that we just put in. And we're just going to go directly under her part and continue the same foils that we were doing before. And then we're going to flip on the other side and continue over there. And if you have a hard time understanding what I was trying to explain at the beginning of that, then we're in the same boat, because I don't really know what the hell I was saying either. But I hope by watching the video, you understood what I was trying to say. And now I'm just making sure on that section that I have this fine little veil where her part falls, that's going to fall on either side of the head. But we're going to go through and foil that. I just want to make sure that I have enough of it left behind. So now we're going to go in the back, and I'm going to go down a little bit further than what I had done previously. So we're just going to throw in maybe like 3 foils here, and make sure that we finish up through the crown area. For this last foil right in the back, you'll see that I'm trying to distribute the hair evenly where it will naturally fall. Sometimes we just section the hair and then we're pulling the hair straight down and weaving it, and we're not paying attention to where the cowlicks make the hair lay. And then after everything's said and done, if they have like a strong cowlick and it makes the hair kind of flip over to the side, then all of that brightness that you just applied might fall, you know, to one side more than the other. So sometimes it's good to just spread the hair out, see where it's going to fall, and then deliberately pick up a weave where you feel like you're going to need it. So that's what we did in this last foil right here. So we're just going to finish with these, and then we're going to go directly where she parts her hair and do a really fine weave, picking up hair from either side where her hair falls. So you can see here I'm being very deliberate where I'm grabbing and weaving. You can see it's almost like a baby light. It's very fine and very thin pieces of hair, but all of the foils are falling mostly underneath where she parts her hair, and then she's going to have that section of her natural hair falling on top of it because she wants it to be more sun-kissed and more natural looking without having to worry about coming in. But I did want to have a little bit of brightness where she parts her hair. So I went through and just did really fine pieces of hair that I was picking up. And then also, did you see that bleach? This is the last foil that I'm working on, and I had to scrape the bleach, the sides of the bowl for the rest of the bleach. And there's nothing more satisfying than not having to refill your bowl for like one last foil. Anyway, so I let her process for probably like 25 minutes total. And you can see here that she's done lightening. She's probably sitting at like a nice level 9, still a little bit of a softer warmth in the hair. We're just going to pull the foils out and wash. I don't need to do any purple shampoo or anything like that, just because we're not trying to like eliminate warmth or anything. Then we're going to go through and mix her toner, which is actually something that I don't normally use. I'm going to try using the Guy Tang versus like Schwarzkopf or Paul Mitchell.
All right, so we just got done washing my client out at the shampoo bowl, and we are going to tone her now. We got her nice and bright. However, our goal is not to be super blonde. She likes it to be kind of softer and more subtle and more natural looking, not heavy grow or anything. So I'm actually gonna dig through all of my colors. I gotta pull out of my stuff here. And I'm thinking I'm going to use Guide Hang. Hold on. All right. So the reason why I'm going to use Guide Hang is, for one, I don't really use it that often and I kind of need to just get rid of it. And for two, I don't really like a bowl and brush application. I feel like it kind of takes too long. So that's why I don't use it very often. However, the colors are really pretty. It's kind of too thick for a bottle application than what I like. You kind of really have to mix it in there. So that's why I don't use it too much, because I really like the Schwarzkopf and being able to use that. So what I'm gonna do I'm like still digging. All right, so what I'm gonna do for her toner is I'm going to mix a few things together. I think I'm gonna use Glow 7. That's Naked Glow, sorry. And Ice Gold 9, level 9. Just to like not have it be too warm, but just to soften it a little bit. Yeah. And I'm gonna use a level 7 versus a level 8 of the Naked Glow, because I kind of want it to fill a little bit more and add a little bit more depth, because it is gonna lighten up a little bit more. So if I do a level 7, then eventually it will lift to like a level 8.5, 9. Or I feel like if I just do like an 8 and 9 toner, then it's gonna probably lighten up a little too much. So this is what we're going to use today. Now I gotta put all my stuff back.
Is this anybody else's life with their tubes of color and completely like looking chaotic, but at the same time an organized chaos?
Also, this is kind of why I want to get rid of my Guide Hang, is because that way I can just scooch all of this stuff back and not have to worry about that. Because also I have this and that. Like, I've got just too much stuff.
So what we ended up mixing was about half and half of the 9 IG and 7 Naked Glow with equal parts of the 6 volume. And here's her hair as she's processing. And even though we're not trying to have a defined money piece or anything, but the hairline foils can tend to be a little bit more fine and more porous and really grab and absorb the color going a little bit darker. So for the first few minutes, I did pull the foils that were, I mean, not like we had a lot, but any of the hair that was right along her hairline that we did any lightener, I pulled those aside first, and then for the first 5 minutes, probably let the rest of her hair process, and then I included that towards the end and let her process for about 15 minutes total. And you can kind of see those highlights starting to show through. I actually like the coverage that I got with this. I generally like Guy Ting, because I feel like he has really pretty like honey tones. If you have somebody that doesn't necessarily want to be super bright blonde, but kind of these warmer, softer tones are really nice that he has. I mean, I really like his blonde tones also, but I generally use his color line for more of this style of color that clients want. So I just wanted to show you guys before I styled her hair when it was nice and straight, how nice and evenly it blended. And now we're gonna go through and finish her style. So I didn't curl the very underneath part of her hair, just more of this top section, because or else sometimes it kind of shrinks up too much and it gets too bulky with the curl. So any of those hairs that you are seeing underneath that look like it's choppy and uneven, it's not. It's just because it's hanging a little bit longer underneath from not being curled. I just know somebody's going to comment on it, so I just had to beat you to it. So anyways, here's her before again. I'm glad that we trimmed it up a little bit. I think that length looks a lot nicer. And here's the after. It's a pretty seamless balayage, foilayage, whatever you want to call it. And she knows that this is going to lighten up over time. So I feel like having it pretty soft and subtle at first is really nice. It's perfect for this time of year. But you'll see, she has a lot of dimension in it still, but it blends really nicely. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys liked the video, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Oh, also somebody had commented asking me to have my clients like flipping their hair around and like shaking their hands through the hair, and I personally cannot stand that. It drives me crazy. So me running my hands through my clients' hair like this is about as close as it's gonna get. So I hope you're happy. For anybody interested, this service took about 2.5 hours and was total $230.